let us move under runtime and incidents. The default view is the flat list in this particular case. Okay, it is a flat list. Okay, you have the ability to filter your findings based upon a date range. Okay, very important. You have the ability to filter your incidents based upon a specific string, substring, and so on. Okay. Um, there is status. There you go. That's what I was looking for. I'm blind. So there is a status column that indicates what's the current status. All the different incidents are set to open. And again, an incident is a manifestation of abnormal API usage. Okay, anomalous API usage. Okay, so we learn the API, we're able to understand what normal behavior is, and we're able to identify abnormal behavior thereafter. Okay, so that's what these things are. Now I'm going to work with one very specific one, API with broken object level of authorization, and I'm going to show you the details and how you can approach working with incidents. Okay, I'm working with this specific incidents because number one is hard. Number two, requires developer help in order to be able to debug it. Okay. Now, as I mentioned earlier on in the previous recording, I am the individual who has written these APIs. I am your instructor. I am your security professional. I am your hacker. Very unique situation, right? So I have full visibility. What I would like to do is I would like to open the details of this API with broken object level authorization. And like in findings, in this particular case, you also going to have a very similar type of look and feel. And as soon as you start working on a specific incident or finding, it's a good practice to change the status from open to in progress, indicating that you start working on a specific incident. Okay. Then what happened is critical. What happened is critical. Why? Because it tells you exactly why this incident was raised. In this particular case, we see that a user suspiciously attempted to access multiple API resources, right? Name, destination, location, query parameters. So we are being told where exactly to look at in order to identify the values responsible for raising this issue. And then you will see that the user successfully accessed two resources while a typical user accesses only one. Okay? This is by definition a broken object level authorization. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with broken object level authorization, consider the following scenario. We both have a bank account with a specific bank. Okay? And we're able to log in using our own credentials, retrieve our data, perform our own, I don't know, management of our account, of our money, and so on, right? With my credentials, I can see my account. With your credential, you can see your account. Now imagine if we have bug in our software whereby you can also see my account. You're able to operate my account. You're able to perform wire transfers. How bad will that be, right? What I just explained to you is a manifestation, is an instance of a broken object level authorization. Why? Because you are not authorized to see my data, my account, but you're still able to. So the authorization mechanism is broken. I don't want to use again percentages, but there is high confidence that this is a programmatic bug because authorization is done at the code level, right? Authentication is identifying who you are. Authorization identifies what can you do, right? So authentication, yeah, there is plenty of technologies, mechanisms that is able to allow you um, to identify who you are. Authorization, on the other hand, especially at the, I don't know, at the granular level, it's a lot harder to do in an automated manner. There are ways and there are technologies that are beginning to do it, like OAuth 2.0. It's not new, but still, uh, it tries to address that type of uh, problem, right? So, being able to access data that you don't have access to, you shouldn't be, you shouldn't have access to, is an instance of a broken object level authorization. And that's exactly what happened in this case, right? We're being told that somebody was able to access two resources. Which resources? Well, destinations. Where can you find them? In query parameters. When a typical user, and every time you see a typical user, your mind should go right away, okay, so this is what we learned, right? During the learning period, we only see a one-to-one type of an association, okay? This may indicate a broken authorization mechanism. This may. Why may? Because this may be a false positive, right? Unless we hear from the experts, the developers, we wouldn't know whether this is a false positive or not, okay? Hence why when we were creating a workflow, we choose to automate this type of work, right? Create a ticket right away. Don't wait. The why that's a problem and what you should do, they're good, read them, but they're cookie cutter. All will have the same exact, all they will have the same exact text. The fact that you're being told, check the evidence. Validate whether this issue is false positive or not. Okay? Do it. Right? And probably by looking at the evidence by yourselves, you're not going to be able to get very far. So you're definitely going to need help from the devs. But for the time being, let's look at the evidence. I'm going to select evidence. And we're going to see a list of traffic of incidents that were caused by this individual, by this user. Okay? The ones in black, they're other incidents unrelated to this specific incident. The ones in red are directly related to this incident. Okay? We can select the first one, right? Actually, we need to select both of them. So let's start from the bottom. Why not? Okay? So we're going to select both of them, and we're going to get to see what the traffic looks like, right? So in the bottom one, we see that we say get flights. That's the actual API. Give me the flights with destination to Cleveland. And Cleveland being highlighted. The next one, give me all flights with destination to ILS. Okay, another airport, another destination. That's the only thing that is highlighted. Now it's up to you and I to inspect and see what else can we deduce, right? What else can we deduce? For start, if I go back to the get flights to CLE and I look at the outputs, I see that I say give me the flights to Cleveland and I get all the flights to Cleveland, right? If you look at the destination, they're all Cleveland, right? If I look on the top one, I say give me all the flights to ILS and I'm getting all the flights to Cleveland, right? That's pretty much what we are alerted about, okay? I'm using two different resources and I'm getting different types of data. The same types of data, actually, not different, the same types of data. The no-name platform is able to correlate the inputs with the outputs, and whenever we see deviations with respect to what we learned, we're going to raise an issue. Okay? We're going to raise an issue. Right? So that's why you see right here. Now I will tell you right now that I caused this. I caused this bug. And I caused this bug primarily because I wanted to raid the broken object level authorization. Okay? And to show you how we're going to approach, how we're going to proceed, right? Again, I'm telling you right now, you're not going to be able to deal with it on your own. Ideally is you would like to communicate that information to your colleagues, the devs, the people responsible. How do you do that? Well, we're going to take action. Remember, we already have a Jira integration, right? And we're going to click submit. And within a few seconds, we should be able to have a ticket created under that product dev Jira project from earlier on. So I'm going to go back to my Atlassian, which is right here. Actually, I don't need this anymore. We need to go here. And if you wait enough, you will see that API with broken object level authorization ticket to open, right? To render. If I selected, you will see that we have all the information from that details, or most of the information from details, they will uh, be present in the ticket. What's the severity low? What's the module runtime? And again, I selected, so it went into edit mode. The OWASP, what's the description? The user suspiciously, same thing, right? Location query, parameter, destination, and so on. Okay. Impact, remediation, success, right? And so on. So you're going to get all that information on the ticket. Now, what happens? Well, at some point, your developers will get a hold of this, right? They're going to move it for development. They decide that this is a bug after consulting with you. They're going to move it for development. It's going to be in development, and finally they're going to get it fixed, like I just did very quickly, right? I wish we were moving at that speed, right? But we're not as developers, that is. But it's done. Okay, it's done. So what are we going to do now? Well, now that it's done, it's going to get itself in production. What we need to do is we need to go back to our no-name platform and change the progress to resolved remediated, because we pretend that this was a bug, it got fixed, it was released, right? So in our case, this is what we're going to select. But you may choose to block, right? You may choose to block initially, right? So you may want to come in here, you're going to say resolve blocked while you're waiting to be resolved. For any other reason, you select resolved. Any other reason you resolve this particular issue. Rejected, we talked about, right? API on the allow list, user on the allow list, user agent on allow list. If you select other, you need to validate it. What's the reason for rejecting this specific incident? And of course, false positive, where you want to indicate that this is a legit use case, so you never be bothered again. That was not captured during learning, right? And you do not want to be bothered again. In our case, we're going to select resolved remediated because we fixed it, or we pretend we fixed it, like this. Okay? And that's pretty much the life cycle, guys. You can go ahead and now you can see the timeline. Look at the timeline, right? It was detected, right? Detected, open, false positive, open. I did all that stuff in order to make sure this appears for our class, right? Open in progress. I just did this. Saturday, I created a ticket. Today, Saturday, progress to resolved. Okay? And you can add comments if you like too, so you can see the timeline. Okay? Um, good. With this, we concluded the incidents page explanation, right? Now you will see that this is one way of getting your job done. There is a better way, and that will be under the attackers that we're going to work on the next section. Okay. For the time being, this section is done. See you in the next. Almost done.